Hey guys, I hope you liked that little cinematic sequence. I was inspired by a recent show that I watched. It's called The Idol. It's an A24 production film, and I really enjoyed the cinematography and the colors. So I was trying to recreate that sort of style. I hope you like that. As you already know from the title of this video, I'm going to be breaking down my color grading process with the Hansa Pro. So if you want to try the Hansa out for yourself, they offer 2 weeks of free trial. And if you plan on getting the full plugin, use my code SHAY10. You get 10% off. And I do get a small commission from that. So it will help to build this channel. And your support really matters. All right, so let's just dive right into the color grading process. I'm going to show you my settings before we get started. So I edit on a 1080p timeline because I don't want my computer to lag. I edit in 1080p and then I will export in 4K or whatever the project requires. All right, moving into color management, I'm using the DaVinci YRGB color science, and then for the color space, I'm using Rec 709A because I'm on a MacBook. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. All right, so this is the opening shot of that cinematic sequence that you saw in the beginning. I'm just gonna dive in and show you my process. Okay, so before I get started, I like to find a nice frame to color grade on. So I think this intro shot is already like good. Okay, the next thing I do is to add more nodes. So you can do that by hitting Option S. I like to do 4 nodes. And then you just go down here and find the Hansa Pro. And I like to put it at the end. I know some people like to put it like in the second last because they want to sharpen the image in the last node, but I don't, yeah, I don't do that type of stuff. So let's just put it in. Okay, let's keep it simple and relatively quick and easy. And I don't like to spend a lot of time color grading, although I do enjoy color grading. I forgot to mention that the whole sequence was shot on the XH2S, the Fuji XH2S with the Viltrox 23 1.4. So we're gonna go and find our camera right here. This is basically what the plugin looks like. The first tab right here is called input. This is where you change or convert your F-log or your log image into a Rec 709 color space. So the beauty with the Hansa is they give you a list of different cameras in the market today, and you just need to go find your camera and choose what log profile you're on, and it does all of that automatically. So it's pretty simple. So I'm going to choose Fujifilm and X-H2S, like I said, F-Log 2. All right, right off the bat, you can see our footage doesn't look anything like film. Let's fix that. So I knew before even shooting the video, I wanted the video to look gritty and grungy. So let's find that type of film. Okay, I think I use the 500T right here. Okay, so the thing that I like to do is to just turn on every single thing, because I made a mistake of not turning on some stuff and then tweaking the sliders and it didn't do anything. So just turn on everything before you get started. I would like to turn grain off, halation, and all the effects off, because I like to see the image clean, and so I can color grade better. Okay, so right, so now we've already chosen the film stock, which is the Kodak Vision 3 500T, which is a tungsten balanced film. And I'm not gonna mess around with anything here yet. I'm gonna go down to the print and choose the Kodak 2383 print film. So yeah, this Kodak 2383 print film is used on countless of movies, so I like this print film. Once you've done that, you can see the footage doesn't really look anything like film yet. Okay, there's some things that you can do. I'm going to my first note right here, and the reason why I have different notes in the beginning, because I want to affect my log video instead of adjusting it in the plugin, because I have more control. So my first note will always be something like exposure. I can see that the footage looks a bit too bright, too overexposed. The waveform looks nice, but for this cinematic sequence, I like it to look more like gritty and grungy and more dark, because it's like kind of gives it a sort of like horror vibe. Okay, so I'm gonna drop my exposure down with the offset wheel right here, just like that, and maybe bring the gain down a little bit like this. So this is before, this is after, before, after. Okay, that's looking real nice. Okay, now I'm looking at image and it looks more on the magenta side, so I'm gonna fix that in the second node, which is my white balance node. You could do it in Dehancer Pro itself, but I kind of like just using the chromatic adaptation effect right here and change it to Bradford, and color temperature, and then tweak with these knobs, because I don't know the science behind it, but it seems to be working out well for me, better than just using the temp and tint sliders over here. So I'm gonna warm up this image just a bit. As you can see, it still looks magenta. I'm gonna push it to the right to bring it to the greener side of things, like that. And you can tweak with these two things. I don't really know how it works, but yeah. Okay, I'm liking where it's at now. It has that sort of green look to it. So this was before, this after, before, after. It might not be the most accurate way to correct the white balance, but I'm liking how this looks. I'm just going to leave it as that. Okay, and the next thing I do is, this is a tip for any Dehancer user out there. If you feel like when you're first starting to color grade and you feel like the footage is not getting to where it's at, it's maybe because you don't have enough color in the image. So let's add some color. So what I do is, on this third node, I would do the color density trick. I don't know if it's still a trick or if it's a known thing. Okay, so you just want to go to the third node right here and then go down to color space and click HSV. HSV. Okay, once you have that, you're going to go channels and disable channels 1 and 3. So I'm just going to add one note here just to give you an example of what I'm trying to do. Note 4, I've added a note before that I just want to show you the difference between a normal boost in saturation and using a color density method. This is just normal boosting of saturation by going to the saturation tab right here and just pulling it up. It's looking pretty nice, I would say, but there's even a better way to do this, because with color density, you're not affecting the luminance at all. You're just affecting how rich and deep the colors are. So let's go back to our HSV color density node right here. I should label them, but I don't because I'm lazy. So right here, go to gain and watch this. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. See how that looks a lot deeper as compared to just doing it the normal way. Okay, just take a look at this. I'm gonna go full screen. So before, after, before, after. You can see that it really brings out the green in the back and the blues in my sweater, and then the skin tone looks very nice as well. This method of saturating your image is a lot more cleaner and a lot more organic. Okay. Another thing that you can do is you can also, if you feel like you want more punch in color, you can go back to Dehancer and go to the film developer and just up the color boost right here. But I feel like that's a little bit too much, so I'm just going to bring it back down to where it was, because I just want to stick to the horror theme. So another great thing about Dehancer is it gives you the color density as a slider, so you don't really have to do much manual stuff. This is a very good way to bring up the density or bring it down, because it is not as aggressive as other methods of doing it. So as you can see, if I were to just push it out all the way, it still looks nice. It doesn't look too oversaturated, and it still looks decent. And I'm liking that look, but I'm just going to keep it to where it was just now, maybe just a bit. Okay, let's do a recap, okay, shall we? All right, so this is our log footage, and we started out by putting the Hansa on, and this is what it looks like. Looks like doo-doo, doesn't look like anything. And then the next thing we did was bring down the exposure to give it that more grungy look, and then we tweak our white balance to make it look more green and more grungy, and then we finally added the color density. This is what personally to me brings everything together, because your footage needs color, and once we have that, everything looks nice. Okay, color hit. I haven't had time to play with color hit, because I think this is a lot more advanced, and I'm not at that stage yet, but I'm guessing this is like a split tone feature where you can push colors in different areas and get different looks. I guess this is more of like the color grading stage of the answer, so I'm just going to leave it as is 0 for now. You can of course mess around with your shadow tone. You can make it warmer or cooler. Same with the midtones, warmer, cooler, highlights, warmer and cooler. All right, so next thing, the answer also has its own film grain engine. I don't know what they use, Magic, Voodoo, whatever. But it looks very nice, and I like to use the 35 ISO 50, because that gives me a nice 35 mil grain, but not too grainy. Just take a look right there. Yeah, it looks very organic and super nice. You could, however, tweak the settings to anything. Actually, you can go to custom, and then you can change the size, you can change the amount, you can make it more intense, or let's say if you're doing like a 16 mil emulation, you can do that as well, and then just adjust the amount right here. But I'm just going to stick to 35 mil ISO 50 and just bring it down a bit, because I don't really like too much grain in my footage. It's looking nice as is already. All right, the next thing is halation right here. I don't think it would be a good example to use halation with this footage, so I'm just gonna go ahead and paste this in on my other. Oh, look, looks great already. Looks very nice. I don't really have to do much to it. All right, let's go to this because it has some sort of highlights, specular highlights up here. Okay, so let's check out the halation. I'm just going to turn it on. Yeah, nothing much, nothing much. Okay, take a look right here. Specular highlights. You see that? Yeah. It's super subtle, which I like. A lot of people are overdoing the halation effect, but you can overdo it. For example, take a look at this. Yep, that is definitely overdone, and I don't really like how that looks. So play around with this. I'm liking the 35 mil halation right here. Just take a look at the tab right here. If I were to turn it off, there we go. Looks nice. Yeah. So that's what halation does to your image. It gives it that nice red glow around the specular highlights, which is also another characteristic of film. And I enjoy using that a lot. All right. Okay. Let's move on to this next scene right here. This is me taking a shower, obviously. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and just paste it. It looks good, but I would like it to be more darker. So I'm just going to go down here and bring the gain down. You should label your notes, guys. Okay, I'm not doing it for the sake of time, but you should. All right, this looks nice and grungy and scary. All right, another thing that I just wanted to point out there. Do you see that light? So the entire sequence was only shot on one light, which is a super cheap Andor RGB light that I got from, I think, Amazon, or maybe it was Shopee. Yeah, I just stuck it to the wall. It works. And for this scene right here, I just placed it in the shower rack right there, and it looks super nice. Okay. For this scene, I'm thinking I want to have more halation around my head, because you can see a bit of halation here around my hair, which is nice. But let's see if I can bring it up a bit more and make it more apparent. Okay, let's see. What can I do? Here we go. Just play around with the settings a little bit. You can change the hue, of course. You can make it red. You can make it like amber. Let's try that. See what that looks like. That looks nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, that is halation. I love halation. It's not the best I've seen. I've used other methods before, like the Tombolas method and Sir's method. As we go down, we have the bloom tab right here. I don't really use bloom that much because for this footage, I was already shooting it with a Pro Mist filter, so I don't really need extra diffusion. Okay, and then we have film damage. So film damage is basically introducing dust and scratches on your footage. I don't really like to have scratches on my footage, so I'm just gonna disable them. And sometimes I like a little bit of hair on the image, but most times I'll just stick with dust. And let's see what that looks like. You can see them right here dancing around. It's very subtle, which I like. And when I was watching The Idol, I look out for all the imperfections in the film, like dust and stuff like that. And it's so satisfying to realize that actual film does that. So yeah, now you can do it with the enhancer. Easy peasy. There's also film breath, which I don't use that much. It basically flickers the image to give it it's also another characteristic of film, which I don't use. And then we have gate weave. It sort of jitters your image. It's sort of mimicking the jitter and motion of the film passing through the projector. So I don't really use that. I just keep it off. And then we have overscan, which is also a fun little thing. So if you go to Instagram and you see one of your favorite creators and they do like this round border thing in on their videos, you can also do it right here. So enable it. You can choose a different type of gate. All right, 16 mil, Super 8, Super 35. You can also change the like how bright the sprockets are. You can also change the perforation mode to positive. It gives you a white sprocket. You can yeah, basically it's like you're scanning it and then you're basically seeing the light of the scanner, which is kind of cool. Or you can just turn it off completely and get like a clean looking border. This is a novelty, I would say. It's kind of like a gimmick, and I don't really use it unless the project calls for it. So I'm just gonna keep it off. Okay, right here. All right, moving on. We have vignetting, self-explanatory. There are some more like cool features that Enhancer Pro offers. Um, it has false color built into the plugin, so you can see which parts of your image are overexposed or underexposed. And I don't really know how to read that. I'm not a color scientist, and I don't really care. And another great thing, if you are happy with the way your footage looks and you want to use a LUT to import into your camera monitor and have a display LUT when you're recording, you can do that with Enhancer. You can just export a LUT to whatever size that your monitor takes, and then you don't need to worry if your shot on the day of shoot is going to look weird after editing or not. So it's kind of nice that they have that feature in there, and I might try that out in the future actually. All right, so that's it for today's color grading breakdown. I hope you guys like that. I hope you guys sort of learn a thing or two. Like I said, I'm not a pro colorist, but if you guys have any questions, just leave them down in the comment section below. And I also know the answer replies to questions on collaborators' videos. So leave a comment, maybe they'll answer your question. But yeah, like I said, if you want to get the Enhancer Pro for yourself, use my code SHAY10 to get yourself 10% off the Enhancer Pro. And one more thing, the Enhancer also has an iPhone app, which is great. It's basically the same features that you have in the desktop version, but in your phone. So you can edit your photos with all the film stocks available and print films available. And I've checked it out, and it's really nice to know that you can have a cohesive Instagram feed because you're editing both photos and videos with the Enhancer, and it's also super convenient to get film-like photos on the fly. So do check that out as well. I think it's also a subscription. I'm not sure. I'm going to be putting the price right here for you guys. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I don't really do this type of videos that much, but I'm looking forward to creating more content like this. I'm not going to be shying away from music yet, but I hope you guys like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.